Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm doing this video before I do the next video of cleaning my CZ75 P01 before I take it to the range. And I'm simply just going to read you a few things from the CZ75 owner's manual that comes with the gun. And I'm doing this because I see so many videos and so many people doing things that aren't recommended. And I'm only going to read the one part. I'm not going to read about firing pin disassembly, magazine disassembly, how to load the gun, all that. I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to read to you is this right here where it starts off, caution, where it says no further disassembly of your pistol is recommended. Should your pistol require adjustment or repair, be sure the task is entrusted to a competent gunsmith. So that is after you field strip your gun and you inspect it. If you need any work, that they're telling you to take it to a gunsmith, which is what the responsible thing for a company, any company, to do. So let me zoom in here so you can see, and hopefully you're interested in this. It says cleaning the pistol. Clean the pistol each time you use it. That answers that question. Because I see some people say, oh, you don't have to clean it every time you go to the range. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Yeah, you do. And there's a reason. Because you get carbon. Every time you fire a gun, you get carbon in that gun. And carbon attracts moisture. Moisture attracts rust. If you get your pistol wet, that's common sense. As soon as possible after shooting. At least once a year in temperate climate. As often as once a month in tropical climate or often demanding environments. That is for those two last statements, or for if you're storing it. So, cleaning the bore, the barrel bore, and the cartridge chamber. If the pistol has not been fired, or if only a few cartridges have been fired, clean the barrel, bore, and cartridge chamber with a clean patch attached to the cleaning rod. Repeat this cleaning, changing patches, until the last patch comes out clean. When the barrel bore is very dirty, apply a gun cleaning solvent or solution using a gun cleaning brush. Let the solvent act for about 10 minutes. This time may vary depending on the solvent agent being used. Then thoroughly scrub out the barrel bore. Subsequently, dry the barrel bore and cartridge chamber with a clean patch and check that all powder residue and fouling have been removed. If necessary, repeat this procedure. So that's the first part of it. We go over here. It's hard for me to see. This stuff is very small. The cleaning rod and the brush must be inserted into the barrel bore from the chamber to prevent wear or damage to the muzzle. Pass the brush all the way through the barrel bore before reversing the movement. If you try to change direction with the brush in the barrel, the brush could stick. Cleaning of other pistol parts. Other parts of the pistol, including the external surfaces of the barrel, should be cleaned with a dry cloth, old toothbrush, brass bristle brush, or a wooden scraper. Preserving oil or paraffin oil, which is paraffin oil, I looked it up. There's a couple different paraffin oils. Some people use paraffin oil in oil lamps. And then there's also a paraffin oil that they're probably talking about. Usually you hear that in Europe, paraffin oil. It's mineral oil is what it is. It's just mineral oil. Paraffin oil can be used for proper cleaning. Never use an agent designed for barrel bore cleaning. These solutions could remain in the joints and after some time could cause corrosion. Check that cloth patches or brush bristles have not become lodged in any part of the pistol. And then it goes into preserving. When the barrel bore, cartridge chamber, and all accessible parts are clean and dry, wipe these parts with a cloth soaked in oil, gun oil, or apply the oil in a spray. Remove all excess oil. Before shooting, always wipe the barrel bore dry. At very low temperatures, remove the oil from all accessible parts or apply a lubricant prepared especially for these conditions. Use thick preserving agents such as preserving grease only for a long-term storage in demanding climate environments. And before all use of the pistol, it must be thoroughly removed from all parts of the firearm. Then it just talks about waste management. So, throwing stuff out. So basically what they're saying is what I've been trying to say. I've made a video, people haven't watched it, and it was a little long. When you're using stuff like a CLP, or a ballistol, which is a cleaning, protectant, oil, and all in one. It's a cleaning, lubricating, and preservative all in one is what it is. When you use something like that, and they're even mentioning it in here, without mentioning CLP, they're telling you to clean the bore with a solvent. They're telling you to clean the outside of the barrel with a dry cloth or dry brushes to wipe everything clean. And they're telling you to do the same thing with the rest of the gun. You can use a thin rag. You can use a rag with some oil on it and wipe it just enough on there so it's a very thin microscopic coat. And then it doesn't even mention oiling the rails. Now I will put a very microscopic coat of synthetic oil on the rails when I go to shoot it. But it also mentions clean that gun after every time you use it. And the reason that they're not mentioning a CLP, a cleaning, lubricant, and protectant all in one is because all you have to do is read the science. Just look up the science. When you have all three of those combined, you can't clean oil with oil. You just can't do that. Would you clean your cooking pan that has, after you just say, you bake some chicken and it's got chicken grease on it? Would you clean it with something that has oil in it? Or would you clean it with your dish detergent soap that is a degreaser? And then after you degrease it, if you need to put a very thin coat of cooking oil or whatever you would use on that to stop it from rusting, that's what you do. It's the same thing with your firearms. And they're telling you before you shoot it to make sure that the inside of that bore is dry. They're telling you to keep the barrel dry. And basically, to keep that gun dry, just put a very light coat of film, if you would, of oil, just to preserve it, to stop any kind of moisture or anything. But then wipe it all dry before you use it. That's what they're telling you to do. And that's the way you should be taking care of all of your firearms. You don't need all this ton of oil. You need a little bit of lubricant on the rails. I would say that. Other than that, you're putting a thin coat of oil on the outside of the gun, and you can put it on the outside of the barrel and put it on the inside of the barrel, but before you shoot it, you wipe that barrel dry. The reason for that is it stops, the oil collects dirt. Oil collects carbon. Carbon collects moisture. Moisture creates rust. Now, 99% of us are not going to be in a situation where we're out in the desert and in places, that are super tropical and all that kind of stuff. Now, Florida, if you're in Florida, we're talking about the United States, or anywhere down south, that's tropical. There's a lot of moisture in the air. You should keep a film of mineral oil on your firearm to stop it from rusting because of the moisture. But then when you go out to shoot it, before you shoot it, wipe all that stuff off, shoot it, then clean the gun, put more oil on it, very thin coat just to protect it, and then put it away. If you're going to store it for a long period of time, that's a whole different situation. And you should check your firearms at least once a month if you don't use them. Science is science, and science don't lie. And when you're using a CLP, and if there's anybody who has firearms, explain to me. A CLP is a cleaner, lubricant, and a protectant. If you just use like Ballistol or CLP, if you leave all that stuff on your gun, are you not leaving the solvent that is in the solution, in the CLP solution, that cleans all of the carbon and the dirt and fouling and copper and lead and everything? Are you not leaving all that on your gun and in your gun? Because it's an all-in-one. So if you leave any of it on your gun, you're leaving the solvent on your gun, as well as you may be oiling it. But if you look at the back of Ballistol, one of the main ingredients for lubrication of Ballistol is mineral oil. And a protectant is mineral oil. So all you're doing is putting mineral oil with a solvent mixed into it. You're leaving that on your gun, and that solvent is eating away at the finish of your gun. That blued finish. And it's eating away at any finishes in it that may be in the bore, the barrel, the chamber, everything. Because you're leaving solvent. Would you take Hoppy's number 9, put it in your gun as a protectant and leave it there for months? Or would you get it out till you have a nice clean dry patch and then put a patch of mineral oil or oil, gun oil, whatever you want to call it, a thin coat down your barrel to keep it, and wipe things down and all that to keep it, a thin coat on it so that it doesn't rust. That's what I would do. Science doesn't lie. When you have a wok or a cast iron pan and you cook with it, you may rinse it off and use a rag just to get the food particles out of it and all that. And then you may not use soap and water because that you want to keep carbon on it. But you wipe it all down, get the food particles off. Then what's the next thing you do? You get a cooking oil and you wipe the whole pan down with the cooking oil, whether it's a cast iron pan or it's a wok. You wipe it all down so that it doesn't rust. That's all you're doing with your gun. You're not putting a solvent to clean everything through, and you're not keeping a solvent on it. So I don't know what else to say. This is coming right from the manufacturer's guidelines for their firearm. And CZ is a very good manufacturer. And they're telling you to keep that barrel dry before you shoot. Your bore should be dry. You can wipe the gun down with a thin coat of oil on a rag to keep it, from rusting and all that. And then you wipe it dry before you shoot it. That's what they're telling you. I just read it to you from the book. You saw it yourself. So I would like to hear other people's comments disputing the science. CLP may be nice to clean your gun and all that kind of stuff, but I'd get it all out. I'd get it all off the gun and all that kind of stuff, and then I would give a light lubrication of either a silicone rag or a rag soaked in mineral oil so it could put a nice film on it. And then when you shoot it, you wipe everything down and get it as dry as you can, and then you go shoot it. Other than your rails, you put a very thin coat of mineral oil, or I would use synthetic oil, on your rails. I mean a very thin coat. A microscopic coat, so that you have your rails sliding with a lubricant. And then after you're done shooting, clean that firearm. Whether it's a pistol or a rifle. You clean that firearm. And then you put a film of oil or silicone on it to protect it when you put it away. And then you wipe it dry before you shoot it again. That's it. That's the science. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, and please leave comments of what you think. All right, have a good rest of your week. Bye.